Rabbi Buchdahl, Angela, Rabbi Saul, thank you for your generous friendship and invitation to address your congregation this evening. And Shabbat Shalom and Happy Hanukkah, Chaverim, friends. What a pleasure it is to be here this evening at Central Synagogue, this magnificent sanctuary on Lexington Avenue, and now in the virtual world. Few congregations are as robust, well-resourced, and committed as Central Synagogue and its leadership and members. With your stellar team of 10 HUC graduates plus student interns leading you into a new future. Your roster illustrates the diversity of Jewish leadership that HUC forms: the pastor, the spiritual leader, the teacher, the preacher, and the executive, the soaring voice and the advocate for social justice in our day. We have been in this since 1875, a laboratory for students and faculty to study, create, experience, and learn how to apply Jewish wisdom to meet the most pressing challenges, moral, spiritual, and communal, of our day. Much as medical schools translate the wisdom of the natural sciences to heal the patient, HUC advances practical Jewish wisdom to heal our world. And we are in a moment of tremendous transformation as Jewish education, engagement, and Jewish identity are waning. Now further disrupted by the horrors of October 7th and the pervasiveness of anti-Semitism even in North America, so pervasive that there are some college presidents who cannot even say that calling for the genocide of Jews is indeed harassment, and for the record, it is. HUC is reshaping a new generation of Jewish leadership to meet our challenges and inspire our communities, with ideas and spirit drawing on Torah in its broadest of senses to bring hope and joy to our world. Hanukkah is celebrated at the darkest time of the year. And just before the holiday began this year, our world became a bit darker with the sudden death of Rabbi David Ellenson, our Chancellor Emeritus of Hebrew Union College. David was a true luminary, the brightest of lights, and while this is not the place for a eulogy, David's life illustrates three of the most important features of Jewish leadership which HUC is committed to. For David was not only a scholar and an organizational leader, he was also a mensch, a scholar, a leader, and a mensch. Through his capacity of his heart, he translated the wisdom of our tradition, inspiring all who were fortunate enough to come into his orbit. As a prodigious scholar, Ellenson embodied the essence of Reform Judaism that we promote at Hebrew Union College. The recognition that it is through our exercise of reason that we partner with God in revelation, understanding the majesty of our universe as we do. As a scholar, Ellenson was concerned not merely with the right answer, but he spoke directly to our hearts, conveying it in a way that we could comprehend its underlying truth, championing the values of individual autonomy, equality, inclusion, and personal responsibility that remain the hallmarks of our movement. This approach to Jewish scholarship is felt throughout the work we do at Hebrew Union College, where thinking, learning, reading, and writing have become spiritual practices all their own, cultivating the midot, the character traits so present in David himself: humility, curiosity, and revisability, that is, the willingness to say you were mistaken in the face of better arguments. Another word for that is called science, along with the refusal to personalize disagreement that is so lacking in our public discourse today. These traits were hallmarks of David Ellenson and hallmarks of what makes Reform Judaism and HUC distinctive. Not just a scholar, Ellenson was also a Jewish leader of exceptional warmth and vision. An inspiring teacher, he was often moved quite literally to tears, moved by ideas and the way they had their effect on others. Of course, you need more than heart and emotion for leadership. And as a mentor to one new president at HUC, David shared with me his concern that he did not always have the stomach required for the challenges of the college. Yet he never backed away from them. He led with honesty and integrity, telling people what they needed to hear, not what they always wanted to. He demonstrated the backbone that is the core of any strong Jewish leadership, that our thousands of alumni serving in over 30 countries today around the world count on to navigate their institutions, their communities, at this most challenging of times. Scholar and leader, but most of all, David was a mensch. The heart that animated his scholarship and leadership drove his ethical character and commitment to justice. Anyone who met him immediately felt, seen, and heard, as if he understood from the start their very essence. This was a man whose field of empathy seemingly knew no bounds. And he was driven by ethical action and justice, and both explain his commitment to Ahavat Yisrael, the love of the Jewish people, and his unfailing support for the state of Israel, commitments that continue to be a bedrock of HUC today. Since 1970, HUC is the only liberal seminary to require our students to spend their first year in Israel. We've been doing it since 1970. And we have significantly expanded our Israeli rabbinical program on our Toby family campus in the heart of Jerusalem. We are a beacon of religious pluralism, promoting democratic values, Jewish values, and promoting a shared society for all who live there. HUC thus strengthens a mature engagement with Israel. A committed liberal Zionist himself, David recognized that the state of Israel exists not for its own sake, but for three very clear reasons: the safeguarding of the Jewish people and their security, the flourishing of Judaism in all its diversity, not its narrowing, and as a modern liberal state, committed to its own founding values of democracy, human rights, and justice for all. HUC has now created the Reform movement in Israel, ordaining over 120 rabbis, Israeli rabbis, in our Israeli rabbinical program, who are providing access to Jewish wisdom and ritual practice for those who knew the only two options available for too long in Israel: fundamentalism on the right and secularism on the left. Our Israeli graduates, like Rabbi Yael Volgin, who served Kfar Aza in the south at a time of devastation of October 7th, and Rabbi Michal Cantor in Megiddo in the north, both Israelis using Jewish ritual to help displaced and grieving families at this moment draw meaning and purpose from our tradition and rebuild their lives. Scholar, leader, and mensch. My first meeting with Rabbi Ellenson embodied those very traits we hope to inspire our students. See, the occasion was a Zoom meeting as part of the presidential search process. Since I was meeting a well-known luminary, I did what each of you would have done. Well, at least if you were identified as a male, you put on a suit and tie. You would have dressed nicely. Have you ever dressed up in a suit and tie for a meeting with a luminary who greets you with a warm smile, a gentle countenance, and a ratty old hoodie? I have. I hope you don't mind the sweatshirt, he said with his mild Virginia lilt. But I did tell them I was going to retire. Clearly, it was a sartorial decision made to ensure that whatever I showed up in on that Zoom call, I would feel comfortable, meant to put me at ease. That concern, much more than his concern about his own comfort, although now that I know him a little bit, I'm sure it was also because of his own comfort. And boy, did he put me at ease. How ironic it is that the heart of the rabbi, who brought meaning and love to the lives of thousands of others, would ultimately be the heart that failed to sustain his own. Perhaps he had given just too much of it to our world in desperate need for even more. And there you have it in one man, the very blueprint for what we try to cultivate at HUC, a love of scholarship as a spiritual practice, passionate leadership that connects deeply to the heart, and being a mensch with the highest commitments to ethics and justice for the sake of each other, our people, the state of Israel, and our world. I now look out at the legacy of HUC that David had a hand in creating. You don't have 54 vibrant Reform congregations in Israel, over 800 congregations in North America, without exceptional, heartfelt Jewish rabbis, cantors, educators, and communal leaders. You don't have rituals to inspire us without Israeli leaders like Rabbis Cantor and Volgin in Israel, or Cantor Mutlu and Pearsall on this Bima tonight. And you don't keep our world aiming towards justice without HUC Rabbi and member of Knesset Gilad Kariv, or HUC Rabbi Hilly Haber, both working to pursue social justice in different ways. And you don't have any of these rabbis, cantors, educators, or community leaders, or Central Synagogue itself, without the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion. Our world became darker this week. But let us now recognize that the light and love that David Ellenson's scholarship, leadership, and menschlichkeit kindled through his efforts in all of his students that came through during, before, and will after his watch, that his light will shine for generations as we rededicate ourselves to our mission for a transforming world. Thank you for your investments in this work, your support of this precious synagogue and beacon of hope to the world, and happy Hanukkah and Shabbat Shalom.